There are 4 things in the nature of every human being. 4 things that we want. We want to show up being wise. You're going to a meeting, you're going to a date, you're going to interview, you want to show up wise. Nobody wants to show up stupid. We want to show up wise. We want to feel that we are strong. Nobody wants to be weak. We want to be respected. And we want to be wealthy. No one wants to be poor. What is it that drives your life and humanity? Is the core desire of being wise, of being wealthy, of being strong, and being respected. Many people coming into conclusion, you know what, those desires, they are pure ego. To be respected. Let go of this desire of being respected. To be wealthy. What an ego trip. To be strong. What an ego trip. To be wise. What an ego trip. When a person starts doing a spiritual work, for the majority of the people, they're going through a phase of realizing that those desires, they are pure ego. What the Kabbalists explain, that those desires, they are not pure ego. The desire to be wealthy, the desire to have endless abundance in your life, this desire comes because of the root of who you are. The root of who you are is your soul. Your soul is a creation of God. God is a force that contains and has infinite abundance. So your soul wants to experience infinite abundance. Your desire to be respected comes because at the root level, which is your soul. Your soul is a creation of the Creator. The Creator is respected force. So your root is aligned with your essence, is aligned with the Creator that created this root. The Creator is respected. You want to be respected. There is no issue with that. You want to be wise. The Creator is wise. There is no issue of having the desires, because those desires are coming from the affinity of the root of who we are with our Creator. We were created with those desires. You cannot run away from those desires, and you cannot push them down, and you cannot try to be spiritual and say, no, I don't really need it, because those desires will be awakened in other phases in your life, and then you'll ask yourself questions. So just to come into conclusion of, you know what, these desires, they are just pure ego, I need to overcome it and to put it aside, I'm telling you, this is the short way out from what you need to deal with. So we need to realize, if those desires, they are core desires of humanity, what's the pathway to fulfill them? What's the pathway to fulfill them? Because when you need to deal with a situation, you're afraid of not being wise enough, you're afraid of not being strong enough, you're afraid of not being not wealthy just physically, but with this abundance and power, you're afraid of not being respected. You're afraid that you're going to lose one of those 4 things. That this outcome of the situation will make you feel poor, weak, stupid. This is what we're afraid of. So the question is, how do we fulfill those desires? So the Kabbalists explain, we need to understand in the essence what each one of those desires are really about. What is this desire to be wise? In order to really be wise, we need to know who is really a wise person. And the Kabbalah is making it very clear, a wise person is not a guy that has all the library in their mind and full with information that can in a second give you all the answers and be so smart, but at night full depression, doesn't know what the direction of his life, doesn't have any relationships, and miserable guy. How can you be wise and miserable? If you are miserable, you are not wise. So the Kabbalists ask, so who is a wise person? So they answer in a very simple way. If you really want to build wisdom, according to the Kabbalists, a wise man, a person, is a person that is open and capable to learn from everyone around them. This is a really wise person. What stands on the way from achieving wisdom? Ego. Why am I not open to learn from everyone around me? You work in a company and you might be in a position that's higher than the other person that just start working and you're thinking, you know what, this guy can teach me. Not wise. This guy can teach you so much. You want to be wise? Recognize what stands on your way. Only your ego. When we realize the type of the ego, then you can at least have the direction of building the energy of wisdom in your life. Because when you build real energy of wisdom within yourself, nothing and no one will make you feel stupid. Because wisdom becomes something that is internal. So it doesn't matter what will happen. It is not like somebody desired to build a house, and now they're having the house. But the house is not them. Somebody reads book, or many books. The information is not them. When you start to own it, when it becomes who you are, this is when you are wisdom. You become self-contained, so you don't need anyone to give you the approval that you are wise, and there's no one that can shaking this energy out of you because you know who you are. Wisdom is something internal. We want to build the energy of wisdom. We need to realize how the ego stands on our way, and the pathway to achieve real wisdom is to realize, how do I open myself to learn from everyone around me? Everyone around me has something to teach me. When the Kabbalists ask, who is the strong person? Kabbalistically, it is definitely not the one that shows up so strong. Not with his spirit and not with his physicality. And sometimes you look at somebody and they are your enemy and they are so strong and I'm afraid to deal with them. And so what you're lacking in that moment is the energy of strength. So you need to become strong. So the Kabbalists ask, who is a strong person? And they say, a kovesh et yitzro, the one that is capable to overcome their own negative inclinations. How do you build strength? Focusing on overcoming your own negative inclinations. All the path of transformation from reactive to proactive, we teach in Kabbalah 1 and 2. Overcome your negative inclinations, all these reactive desires, all those selfish drives. When a person works on overcoming their own negative inclinations, this is what brings the fuel to make a person eventually powerful. And this power become who they are. It is not there is power in this person. They become it. You become wisdom. You become power. When the Kabbalists ask who is wealthy, they don't say, wealthy is few kind of definitions and people. The definition of a wealthy person, Kabbalistically, is definitely not the one that has the $1 billion in their account. The definition of a wealthy man, a person, asameach bechelko, the one is capable to be present and to be happy, contained, appreciate what they have. If you have less than the other person, but what you have, you can recognize it as a major blessing and as a pathway to expand even more. But the fact that you know that there is greater abundance waiting for you and you haven't achieved it yet doesn't create insecurities and lack inside of you, because your mind is in the appreciation of what you have without losing the desire for the more. For most of people, they want more without appreciating and having the capability to connect with the actual energy they have in their lives. So for many people, their mind and their experience is just in the lack, even though they might have so much compared to other people. Even though we never compare ourselves to other people, just look at your life and see how much you have. Who is a wealthy man? Is the one that is capable to see how much they have. The path into expansion is recognizing, first of all, what you have. And expansion is never just physically, because a person can have much more in the physical level, but empty within. They are poor, because it doesn't matter what they have. It doesn't make them happy and fulfilled. If a person cannot find fulfillment in where they are, they will not be able to find fulfillment in whatever will come in the future in their lives. So who is a wealthy man? If I want to build attitude of wealthy individual, I need to realize at the moment how wealthy I am. And this is what Jacob is doing. He's saying, Katonti mikol hachasadim. He's saying, you know, with all my process and everything that I overcame and achieved, I know that the amount of blessings that manifested in my life are bigger in a way that I cannot even measure it than all the effort and the work I have done. When you put in the scale my work and the blessings, what weighs more? For most of people, what do you mean? I worked so hard for what I have. And I actually deserve even more than that, right? The mindset of I deserve more, the mindset of entitlement, right? Is just lack of realization how the universe blessed you with so much. When a person is in the mode of complaining and being unsatisfied with what they have, it is simply pure ego. If I believe that I deserve more than what I have, I kind of sending a signal to the universe and I'm saying, you know, you make mistakes here. Like I worked so much than what I got. But anyone that look in a spiritual level at their life eventually will be able to shift this direction. And when you are capable to shift this direction and realize that the amount of blessings in your life at the moment, regardless to the level and the amount of challenges you might face, the amount of blessings are much bigger and greater than what you really deserve according to your effort. When you realize that, there's kind of a place of what we call the humility, but not humility in kind of a spiritual, you know, be humble, appreciate what you have. It's deep realization. It is not just something you tell yourself, I need to appreciate what I have. I need to get myself to feel it. I need to get myself to experience it. But when you get yourself to experience it, this is where the gates open up and the new level of abundance coming in. This is where your vessel is ready for more. If I'm not happy with what I have, my vessel is not ready for the more. And one thing that we didn't cover, which is respect. A big thing, right? Who is the one who considered to be a respected human being? So you think, again, in this world, with all the illusion of this world, you know, there are many people getting so much respect. Who is truly respected individual? המכבד את הבריות. The one is capable to respect everyone around them. When the energy comes from within and you are capable truly, honestly, to respect people around you, you become the energy of respect. And this is what you will attract. You will attract tremendous amount of respect. So having respect, being wealthy, being wise, being strong, it is not pure ego desires. They're soul deep desires. Unfortunately, most of humanity, most of the generations had no idea about the wisdom, about how do I fulfill it. So everyone with their ego tries to fulfill those desires and becoming wealthy and strong and even, you know, in the outside seem to be wise, but they are not really fulfilled. How can it be? Because there is the direction to fulfill those desires. And the one direction is to realize what stands on your way. Your enemies, they are never external enemies. And therefore, the fulfillment you have can never come from the outside. Not the enemies and not the good coming from the outside. Everything is being created from your inside. When you start to realize that, you start to make different choices. You start to take different directions in your life. You still have the desire to fulfill all of it, but then you have a way, you have a plan, you have kind of a strategy to go for it and not just fight the world and the process and try to get all of those things that you want to get and being afraid that if you take a step to confront and to deal with situations that kind of you run away from, you might lose, and the fear controls you. There is nothing to lose when the work is internal. There is nothing to lose when your work is inside, internal. If you take your life and you think about the energy of wisdom, I want to build it in. The energy of respect, I do want to build energy of respect. If I want to build energy of wealth, if I want to build energy of strength, there are ways to go for it. One thing that doesn't let us manifest all of those things, it's simply our ego. The ego manifests itself as all those situations that seem to be negative, with this guy that elbowing us in the supermarket, and in more extreme ways maybe that we can experience in our own life. This is only a reflection, manifestation of the energy that we created. When you work to defeat your own enemy, which your internal enemy, which is your ego, the reality in front of you will change instantly.